Representative David Hyatt took a moment at the end of the briefing to discuss a bill which could further penalize improper burning in South Carolina. But this week, when you pull into your spot, you actually don't have to pay the meter. This is because of the grace period. We could have more horses, just like Babysitter here in the state of South Carolina. At this intersection, 21-year-old Nate Baker's life was cut short after a hit and run on Wednesday. Since the incident, students have created this makeshift memorial to honor his legacy. But now, when you go to pay for parking, it's going to be $1.50 an hour, which is double what it currently costs to park. After getting released from prison, formerly incarcerated individuals have tougher times finding jobs, housing, and even driver's licenses. Let's head over to Owen Wetterhahn for a look at what's going on in the sports world. Owen, what are the Gamecocks up to in Tampa? Walking down the hallways here at the University of South Carolina's School of Medicine. 77 of these students matched with primary care specialties. Our Philip Schleiss has the history behind these projects and what residents can expect when going to the parks. In Columbia, Cara Setzer, Carolina News. Live from the State House, Cara Setzer, Carolina News. For Carolina News, I'm Cara Setzer. USC students are continuing to mourn the loss of one of their own, right here in the center of campus. At this intersection, 21-year-old Nate Baker's life was cut short after a hit and run on Wednesday. Since the incident, students have created this makeshift memorial to honor his legacy. As more students continue to walk by, it continues to grow. Candles, notes reading, "We love you," and t-shirts holding fond memories. All reminders to those passing by of South Carolina student Nate Baker.
Shout out Nate. I love him.
He made light of every situation.
Baker's relatives also visited the memorial this morning. Though they chose not to speak on camera, his uncle shared that with Nate, no one was ever a stranger. That spirit lives on as friends, USC students, and Columbia residents come together at this intersection in one of life's worst moments.
Every beer can, every photo, every stuffed animal that's left behind there, that's somebody who, again, someone whose life he touched. People are going to miss him, and it's really moving to see how big of an impact he had on this campus.
The makeshift memorial has become a powerful symbol on campus, with many students stopping by to pay their respects on the way to class.
It's definitely reached every single person on this campus and has honestly broken everyone's heart.
Even those who didn't know him are feeling the weight of his absence.
We can all come together and, support each other, put an arm around each other, because again, everybody is feeling this in one way or another.
Throughout the day, more and more flowers have continued to appear from both friends and new faces.
He's so loved by people that I just see everyone walking, and I think it's beautiful that God's bringing some peace to such a terrible thing.
While some came by to grieve, others expressed outrage that such a young life was taken away so soon.
These people need to be careful on these roads. There's students all through here. They don't deserve to have their life taken from them.
In the meantime, loving messages continue to appear on the sidewalks. One from Mom said, "You're in the promised land, buddy." The university says it will offer counseling services for students struggling with what happened here on campus. In Columbia, Cara Setzer, Carolina News. Aiken, South Carolina, a small but lively town with a rich history of horse racing.
I grew up with a horse. All my friends had motorcycles. I had a horse, and this is just part of my personal identity.
But recently, the state's horse racing industry has fallen behind.
Well, you can call it failing, but South Carolina right now is failing.
In South Carolina, all forms of gambling are illegal, including horse betting.
The horse racing industry is dependent upon gambling at the racetrack.
A bill called the South Carolina Equine Advancement Act could level South Carolina with competitors like Virginia and New York, where horse betting is legal.
The purpose of this bill is to improve the equine industry in our state, to make sure that money exists to be able to funnel down so that this vital and important industry doesn't disappear.
It would legalize advanced deposit wagering, a form of horse betting only done on live horse racing.
It's not video games, it's not casinos, it's not slot machines. This is just for the horse industry.
5% of bets would go towards an equine development fund, generating around $5 million a year to support veterinary training, farrier and feed services, and residency programs, which provide monetary incentives to trainers that raise their horses in South Carolina. The city of Aiken used to have over 400 racing horses, but ever since the 1940s, that number has been slowly dwindling and is now less than 100. But with the passing of the South Carolina Equine Advancement Act, we could have more horses, just like Babysitter here, in the state of South Carolina. The equine industry currently employs over 28,000 South Carolinians, but fewer racing incentives leading to fewer racing horses could change that.
If the legislation passes and the tracks get to open back up, the horses will come, so then I'll have a job and I don't have to look at moving away to ride the amount of horses I need to ride to make a living.
Still, gambling triggers painful memories for some South Carolinians after the video poker crisis in the 1990s left many suffering from financial loss.
Some people lose a little, some people lose a lot, some people lose everything, and the addiction rates are skyrocketing.
Beam shared that states where online sports betting is legal have seen a 28% increase in personal bankruptcy. But Mullins believes that with today's technology, gambling's already happening no matter what.
Right now, you either support illegal betting, which is what goes on, or you support legal betting. And if it's legal, then we can regulate it.
He says betting is essential not only for the horse industry, but also for the state's economy.
If you want to place a bet on your phone, then you're engaged, and you may come out to a track and actually see the race, so you're going to buy something to drink and eat. There's a huge kind of ripple effect that goes out from the people that are there.
Advocates like Mullins and Sadler have testified at the State House to support the sport that has become a lifestyle for many, one whose future may depend on how South Carolina chooses to bet on it. In Aiken, Cara Setzer, Carolina News. Thanks, guys. After getting released from prison, formerly incarcerated individuals have tougher times finding jobs, housing, and even driver's licenses. Here at the State House, advocates for criminal justice reform gathered this morning for Second Chance Day to bring awareness to these issues and celebrate rehabilitation.
You know, we're a lot greater than our greatest mistake, and unfortunately, we can't get past that with a lot of society's views.
Jimmy McPhee spent 45 years in prison and 3 years on death row for murder. He was released 5 years ago after turning his life around through education and work as a prison chaplain. Now he has a family and a second chance.
Every morning I wake up, I thank God for waking up in my own bed with my beautiful wife behind me and opportunities just to live a life that I never really thought I'd be able to take advantage of.
But not everyone gets that opportunity. Renee Purifoy's son is serving 40 years for drug-related murder. He still has 23 more to go.
Unfortunately, like I said, I'll be 91. And unless the Lord's willing, I won't be here. And I'd like to see him. I'd like to feed him. I'd like to hug him outside of, like every mother's dream.
She says he's turned his life around through education, and he's even written a book.
He's turned his life around, and he deserves a second chance. And with a 40-year sentence, he doesn't get that.
She hopes future legislation will help speed up his second chance. But for some, it's too late. Reverend Hillary Taylor was Brad Sigmund's spiritual counselor, a man whose execution by firing squad made national headlines last month. Taylor, the organizer of today's event, found a friend in Sigmund in a time of her life when she needed it most.
I'm extremely sad still that Brad is dead. He was somebody who was a really big source of emotional and spiritual support for me.
She said Sigmund was a changed man, dedicated to others, from sharing his commissary to supporting pen pals in Germany and England.
He was somebody who tried every way to ask for forgiveness, and not just to say sorry, but to do the work of sorry.
Stories like Sigmund's, McPhee's, and Purifoy's were just a few of the stories shared today at Second Chance Day, an event that takes place annually here at the State House in Columbia, as advocates continue to push for legislation that would make life easier for those re-entering society after prison. Live from the State House, Cara Setzer, Carolina News.